Hey guys, this is Marshall Kirby from Orchard Hill Farm Equipment, and today we are going to start a new series off. And this series is basically going to be comparing tractors. We've gotten a lot of requests in the past. Customers are shopping, and maybe they've narrowed it down to, hey, I want to buy a Kioti tractor. I just don't know which one is the one for me. And obviously, that's what we're here for. Come to the dealership, email us, stop in. We'll go over all this stuff with you, but a lot of people like to do the research before they come to the dealership nowadays. Everybody has a busy life, and sometimes spending an hour and a half, 2 hours at a dealership going through this stuff with the dealer can be, a nuisance in a sense. People don't have time, but guess what? When you're, at home and you got time in between things, you can pop on this video and learn about them. So today we are going to go over the CK20 series and the CX10 series. So in a nutshell, basically the two models behind me, we have a CX2510, which is 24.5 horsepower at the engine, and we have a CK2620, which is also 24.5 horsepower. Now, they're the same horsepower, but you're going to notice a drastic difference in their sizes. Obviously, these are probably the two most common tractors that are compared here at our dealership. So we figured, what not but to start off this series with the two most popular sellers that we have being the CX and the CK. So these tractors both fall right under the emission standards, so that's one reason they're the most popular. And they're great for small property owners, landscapers, all that type of stuff. So it's common. We don't sell, I'd say 60% or 70% of our customers are just large property owners or small, what I'd call a small homeowner, maybe 5, 10, 15 acres. And these are perfect options for those people. So let's take a dive in and show you about these tractors, and we'll kind of go over, side-by-side comparisons each. So starting off on the front, obviously they both have a loader standard. This bucket is going to be 50 inches wide on the CX2510. It is pre-drilled for a cutting edge. It is skid steer quick detach. And this loader, excuse me, lifts up about 11 to 1,200 pounds to full height. All right, so that's a difference. I want to say the lift height is around 84 to 86 inches tall at max height. We step over here to the CK. This is the KL4030 loader. This loader comes standard with a 60 or a 66-inch bucket. Obviously, most of the time, we order it in with the 66. That's what most people want. It is pre-drilled for a cutting edge. It is skid steer quick attach. And the 4030 loader on the CK lifts about 18 to 1,900 pounds. So good difference in lift capacity. That is one of the number one reasons that we do see people gravitate towards the bigger one. Obviously, if they're looking for the most lift capacity, this is going to be their baby, so they're going to go with this. They both come standard with a grill guard in the front. The grill guard on the CK has to get flipped forward with these little pins to access inside your hood area. So basically, pull these pins, that'll fold forward. You're going to notice on the CX, you don't have to do that. As we work our way back, bucket level indicator standard on both. All the grease zerks for inside the loader are standard on both. And yeah, now we'll get to some of the more parts of the tractor. So the hood right here is a metal hood on the CK, and it is plastic on the CX. So that is sometimes a preference people might have, but that is different. Now the headlights are LED on the CK2620 series, so a little bit brighter than your standard headlights on the CX2510 over here. So difference in the headlights, that's for sure. Ground clearance wise, they actually both have a close ground clearance. I want to say, I don't know exactly off the spec sheet in the top of my head, but I want to say they're only about an inch or two off from each other. And I know they're both around that 12 to 14 inch ground clearance wise on, the tractor. So that's nice. Of course, sitting side by side, different tire sizes. So on the CK, we're running 7 by 8.5-15s. Now these are R4 tires. And over here on the CX, this is also an R4 tire. And these are 23 by 8.5-12. So 12-inch versus 15-inch tires. That is a difference in the front on the tractor. We talked about horsepower at the beginning. They're both 24.5 horsepower, but don't be fooled because the engine in the 2620 is actually bigger. So the displacement, if you look at the two spec sheets, the displacement of this motor is bigger. So this motor in the CK2620 is their old CK30 and 35 motor. They basically turned down the injection system to produce less horsepower, so it meets EPA standards and does not require a regen filter or a DPF system, as well as a big ECU underneath the hood. And as always, they've always had this other motor, which is around the same horsepower, which they didn't have to turn down, and it's less displacement. And this motor has been in many tractors over the years. That's currently in the CX2510. They're both, of course, power steering. The pistons for the steering are in front of the front axle. They both have 4 tire choices. So today we're picturing R4 tires. We can get R14, R4, R1 Ag, or Turf tires. So 4 tire choices standard from the factory. Both of the loaders have these kickstands that fold down underneath them to lock the loader, or I guess hold the loader up so you can back away from the loader. Both of them have nice grab handles on the side to pull your loader apart right here. And both of them have quick disconnect hydraulic lines. The hydraulic lines on both tractors are kind of tucked off to the side of the loader in the same location. So that's quite similar as well. I will open the hood on both. I don't want to go too crazy into detail because, again, it's just like I've already mentioned, different size motors, but I will point out a couple things first in the maintenance stuff. So in the front on this, we have an interstate battery, a Donaldson air filter, screened-in radiator, radiator cap, some fuses. Come over to the side over here was the stuff that you're actually going to be servicing. This one has a primer on the fuel filter, which will be different from the CX. Your throttle cable, your engine oil fill, your engine oil filter, your dipstick. There's some more fuses back here. There's an engine oil fill port on the top of the engine. You get the point. That's the majority of the servicing on the engine. You have a front axle dipstick for oil. And then on each side of the transmission underneath, we won't be able to see that right now, but is a filter. There's 2 hydraulic filters, one for the hydrostatic drive and one for the actual full hydraulic system. So that's, underneath the hood on a CK. Let's take a walk over to the CX now, and we'll pop the hood on that one. And something tells me, yep, it's in the opposite side. The latch is in the opposite side on the CX for whatever reason. All right, so that pops up like that. Again, a lot of the stuff's going to be similar. So antifreeze overflow radiator, screened-in radiator, interstate battery, air filter over here instead of in front, your muffler over there. Coming over to this side, same type of stuff, throttle cable, engine oil fill right there, engine oil filter, dipstick, front axle oil fill. Something that we don't see is, where's our fuel filter? Well, this model is different, so we will point that out. The fuel filter on this model is located back here, right here. So the fuel filter is tucked away near the fuel tank on this one, and it's right here. There is a shutoff on it, but no primer. And this fuel filter is just a paper cartridge. So a little bit quicker not quicker, a little cheaper to change, but I guess as much as it's cheaper, that other filter on that other style, on that other tractor will last longer, in my opinion. So is it really cheaper? Probably not at the end of the day. We'll come back around to the sides of the tractors and go over the actual operator station features on both of these. So starting with the CX, you will see you got a nice step to get in on here with a metal rod support. That's something new on the CX. It was previously not on the CK. So that's a new upgrade. Just again, getting on and off these tractors a lot, it gives this, the step more rigidity for the customer. So the CX is more decked out with features, just creature comforts, than the CK. But most of everything we're going to go over that this has, that one does not, it can be added, and it's not that expensive. So as much as, this has more to offer, that tractor's still close in price, even if you do add these options. So starting over here, this is a mechanical clutch for the power takeoff. So this tractor does have a power takeoff on the back and does have a slot to add a power takeoff for the front for a mid-mower or a front snowblower. This tractor has a low and high range, all right? The other CK is going to have a low, medium, and high. This tractor has all your headlights here, Big difference, the CK cannot actually have this upgrade option, which is a tilt steering wheel. Yeah, if I unlock it the right way. So tilt steering wheel one way or the other, and then you can lock it to where you want it. That is not an option you can put on the CK unless you get the cab models, the SEs. Throttle on the dash. This tractor has four-way directionals and cruise control. I don't know if you can see cruise control button there, but cruise control is going to magnetize to your forward pedal if you're driving forward and you want to lock it down. Let's say we're mowing for an extended period of time. That cruise control can come in real handy and just be a nice thing to have. Get the steering wheel out of the way so we can see a little bit better down here. Parking brake over here, and so this is the lever for the parking brake, and where my toes are touching is the actual parking brake. So you push on it, and you push down on that. It'll lock it in place. You let go. Stuck down. You want to release it. Give it a little push. It'll release back to you. Forward and reverse pedals. Simple HST. Not a whole lot to go over there. The key, which is indented a little bit, recessed inside the dash, which is kind of nice. So you're less susceptible to banging it off with your kneecap or something like that. You're going to notice the floorboard on this one. The floorboard on this one has a rubber deck mat. That is not a standard feature on the CK, but it is an option you can add, and a quite common one. So another feature that can be added to the CK that this has is the armrest and the seat up here. So they're retractable. These armrests come standard on the CX. They are a couple $100 option on the CK, and a very popular option on the CK. Both machines have a nice deluxe seat adjustment, so forward and reverse, as well as a hydraulic cushion adjustment right here. That's going to change how much bunginess or springiness you got in your actual seat, the compression for the weight of the person. As we look down here, there's a differential lock that's mechanical, and then this is a four-wheel drive mechanical in and out lever and two-wheel drive. So again, just mechanical, and then this little guy right here is a dipstick as it looks. So that's a hydraulic oil dipstick. And actually over on back of this heel back here is one of the hydraulic filters. So on the CK, you have both of them under the floorboards. On the CX, you actually have one raised above there. And again, easy to change, not a hard thing to change out. Over here on the side, we got our loader joystick, fender mounted, so it's very comfortable, right where your arms kind of lay. And we have, I guess I'll call it a phone holder. I don't know that I would trust my phone sitting in there bouncing around in the woods, but you do whatever you want. Just don't call me if you lose your iPhone and run it over. This right here is a 12-volt outlet plug to throw a charger in, and then you got some USB ports. Yeah, it's just nice so you can charge something on here while you're running it. Hydraulic oil fills right there, tucked away in a great handy spot, easy access for the customer. And then over here on the side, we have our 3-point hitch lift and lower levers. So that's what this lever is there. And then there's a stopper for a certain height. So you can loosen that, bring it up to, say, 2, and lock it down. And every time you drop your mower, it'll stop at 2, essentially. So those are, I know I ran over them quick, but those are the operator station features on this. Let's take a peek over at the CK and see what it has to offer that's different. So here, let me pop this hood back down. Okay. So as we come up, step to get in, just as, nice as the other one. Clutch, just like the other one. Same headlight controls. You're going to notice no tilt steering wheel on this model, but it is a bigger operator station. So I don't know that I'd need it. I mean, I'm 6'1", but you still got plenty of leg space, even if you are a taller guy. The seat's in the all the way back position right now, all the way forward. Yeah, I'd be kind of hugging that steering wheel, but anyways, so plenty of adjustment. The seat also has that hydraulic cushion adjustment here, so that's nice. Like I mentioned before, cruise control, floor mats, and armrest. They can all be added to this tractor. Each option is a couple $100. So even if you get all three, it doesn't add up to a whole lot. Parking brake is in the near same location. So push pedal and a little locker like that. And it's on right now. To release it, that comes back to you and it's released. Same forward and reverse system. Recessed key, except it goes this way, not inside the dash, but sideways into the dash. And throttle right here, same position and four-way directionals. So a lot of similarities. This is a big difference for the CK. So you do gain that medium gear, and that is also probably another reason people start to consider this tractor. The two biggest options that this tractor has to offer that the CX doesn't, that sometimes push people to go for the bigger one, is the medium range in the transmission and the higher lift capacity. So those are probably the two biggest things. I'm sure we'll find others. Like I said, this lacks some of the features. You get that for the smaller tractor. And the tractor is, different sizing. So if you need to fit in tighter areas, then maybe the CX is your go-to. Differential lock for the rear axle mechanical, 2 and 4-wheel drive mechanical. I forgot to mention this little knob on the other one. This is your flow control for your 3-point hitch, controlling how fast or slow that mower on the back lifts and lowers. Loader control over here. And since this is a new series, they've done some upgrades along with the headlights being LED. The loader joystick now features 2 buttons for a third valve. So it's easier to add a third function to this loader because it's pre-wired for it, whereas the CX isn't. So it just takes one step out of the third function install process out and makes it quicker. Probably saves you 20, 30 minutes in the garage if you do install the third function on this one rather than the CX. 3-point hitch lift and lower mechanism, lock for a loader, and the CX does have that. We forgot to mention that. Something minor, but I think it's worth noting. The CX, I can stick my hand down and touch the side of the transmission. You're going to notice it's open right here, kind of essentially, which I don't mind because I can see all my levers and if a stick's stuck between something. But if we look over back at the CX, you're going to notice it's kind of all closed off. For the most part anyway. So that's a difference, right? Nothing too major there, but it is a difference. Same PTO in a similar location. Fenders have grab handles on both sides on this tractor. Little minor difference, but the CX, we're going to look at that fender and see that there is no handle on this fender, but on the one to get in, the opposite side, the driver's side, there is a handle. So the CK wins in the handle department. It's got 2 handles instead of 1. There's a cup holder on the CX, and I don't know there's a cup holder on the CK. There is on the CX as well. We forgot to mention. So it's stuck back here in a good location. Again, some type of phone holder. Again, don't know if I'd trust me by saying to throw your phone in there, but it is, what it is. Roll bar will fold down. That's a difference is overall roll bar height on these. They both fold, which is nice, so you can get them both in a low-lying garage. I think side marker lights are the same on both. Obviously, travel speeds will be different on both. This will top out in high range around 12.5 miles an hour, 13 miles an hour. I want to say the CX is more like 8 to 9.5. So you might get a couple miles per hour difference out of the CX or less out of the CX than you would the CK. That kind of does it for operator station. Let's take a walk around to the back of the CX, and we'll take a peek at what they offer on the rear end on both tractors and kind of go through that. So we already talked about the fuel filter location. Next, let's talk about the fuel tank. So they both actually share the tanks being right in back of the seat on top of the rear end on both. One is metal and one is poly. I have no personal preference on either. Some people do say, oh, metal's better than poly or vice versa. Personal preference, just whatever you prefer. But they both get the job done. We have had little to no issues with either design. So, been a good system. Fuel cap on the top. The toolbox is an added feature for the CX. You can add that to the CK. It's a couple $100 feature or whatnot. Not that expensive to add, or maybe even make up your own toolbox. Not a bad way to go. The rear tail lights, both of them have that. Rear little reflectors, they both have that. Category 1 3-point hitch is standard on both. Obviously, your 3-point hitch on the other one is beefed up, but they do both have the same Category 1 3-point hitch, which means you're going to be able to put on pretty much the same attachments on this one as you are to that one, but just with common sense, right? Maybe a 6-foot rake on either will we be fine, but a 6-foot mower might be a bit much on this tractor, even a bit much on that, but you get the point, right? It'd handle it better. It's a bigger tractor. So, but the hookup is all the same, Category 1. There's multiple top link hole adjustments. So this has 3 top link holes. That's a difference. The CK only has 1. top link hole for where this is located, here, here, or here. Drawbar can be removed. PTO stuck under this plate here, and this plate is stuck on there, and I believe, yeah, on the CK, it is movable on that plate, which is actually a unique feature to the CK. So let's look over at the CK's rear end. I did forget to mention, both of these tractors are cast steel rear ends, so they do weigh a lot, and that smaller tractor surprises people. When they look at the numbers of what they weigh, this tractor versus that tractor are not that far off for as big of a difference physically as they look. Trying to remember the numbers in my head here, but yeah, I'm going to draw a blank. This one is around 2,800 pounds without a loader. The loader adds about 1,000, so call this 3,800. This one's around 2,300 without a loader. Again, loader adds about 800, 900 on that one. So about 500 pounds difference between the two, somewhere give or take, which isn't a crazy amount. I mean, it's a chunk, but it's not as drastic as some may think. They might think it's 1,500 pounds between the two of these. So that small little CX is heavier than most other tractors in its horsepower that are of its physical dimensions, meaning 50 inches wide. If you go look at a John Deere or Kubota that's 50 or even 55 inches wide, you're going to find that that CX is way heavier from the factory before loading the tires, which is a huge, nice thing to have. Fuel tanks in the back. Hydraulic dipstick we saw was between the four-wheel drive and the differential lock on the CX. It is located with a little pull grab handle right here on the CK, just right there in the back. And again, you stick that back in, good as new. And that's also your fill port on the CK. Full-size drawbar, which can be removed. Your top link, folding ROPS bar, rear lights, PTO. Oh, and we talked about this shroud being movable, except from the factory they tighten it like, you know, it's nobody's business to undo that. But if we loosen these two nuts, plate is made to sway up out of the way so you don't slam your hand on the side or when you're hooking up a PTO attachment. So that's, in a nutshell, the differences. They're both phenomenal tractors. No computers to really worry about. No emissions. Great warranty on both. You're going to have a 6-year powertrain warranty on both machines, which is going to cover engine, transmission, front axle for a full 6 years. And you're going to have a bumper-to-bumper chassis warranty of 2 years. That's going to cover anything from a alternator to a starter to your seat ripping. And then a 1 year on any attachment you buy, a loader, a backhoe, all that type of stuff. Now, obviously, we just went through a lot of the features, but just some personal input that I've seen over the years of customers that pick one over the other. So different customers, right? So this tractor is about 50 inches wide, is very nimble. So somebody that has gated areas they need to fit between, 50 inches, a lot of times fits between a lot of gates. You need to fit inside a horse stall is a good example. This tractor a lot of times will. This tractor a lot of times won't. Fit in a really compact garage or shed. A lot of times the smaller tractor takes the kennel there and will fit in, and a lot of times this won't. Obviously, maybe a full-size garage this will, but you get the point. Little shed that's off to the side of the woods that you built or whatever. This sometimes can fit in one. Overall length is also less, length on the CX. I don't have them parked side by side, but I know it's about a foot in difference at least, foot and a half anyways, on total length overall. Servicing costs are going to be about the same on both machines. You're not going to spend a whole lot on the bigger tractor, although a lot of times you would. Buying a bigger tractor usually causes, more expensive filters and stuff. These are about the same horsepower, so the filters are almost the same. So no huge added cost other than oil capacity on this tractor might be a little more than this one. So you're spending more there. But reliability is about equal. This models and this model have essentially been out for an insanely long time. So it's currently called a CX. Before that was called a CK2510, which has been out since, it's been a long time. 2011, 2012, 13, something like that. So we're talking like 10 years. And the new CX just has some of those upgrades like the armrests and stuff. So this is a proven tractor, but so is this. The CK used to be called the CK2610, which have been out from like 2013 or 14 all the way to 2022, 2023, and then the 2620 came out with updated headlights and new, joystick and whatnot. So both tractors have been out for over a decade. And before that decade, there were some of the stuff like the engine, transmission, front axle, this tractor and that tractor had still been out on other models. So this is all proven reliable stuff. Very, very good machines. Now, which one do we sell more of? Definitely the CK. This is Kiot's best seller, the CK2620. It's the biggest tractor you can get without any of the computers and emissions stuff, and it lifts a lot of weight, and it's reliable, and it's simple maintenance, and it's not that far off. So we didn't get to cost, and obviously cost is going to change time, after time goes on. So I'm not going to give you the exact cost of this one today, cost of that one, but I can tell you before walking out here, I did price them up, and they both have 0% financing right now, and hopefully that sticks through all 2024. That'd be quite nice to keep offering that, because definitely is helping sell tractors. But price to price is not that far. We're talking usually within $3,000 to $4,000 of each other on exact cost. Sometimes that can be a little closer than that. Maybe, a couple months from now, maybe it's only $2,500, depending on the rebates offered and different stuff. But generally about $3,000 to $4,000 apart from each other, which in the grand scheme of things, I mean, we're talking $60 a month in a monthly payment, $50, $60 a month, maybe even $40. So not a huge difference. And we are talking near double the lift capacity on this. So really, this is for the guy that needs to fit in tight areas, but still have a beast of a tractor and a lot of capacity. And this is for the guy that's not worried about spacing and just wants the most bang for his buck. And the CK series obviously does have a cab as an option. They do offer this tractor with a cab, and they do offer the CX with a cab. They offer loaders for both. They do not offer a mid-mount mower for this tractor. They do on the CX. So that might be something important as well. You can get a front mount 54-inch snowblower on this. You can get a front mount 66-inch snowblower on this. You can get a 6.5-foot subframe backhoe on the CX. You can get a 7.5-foot on the CK. So a lot of different choices to add to these tractors. Kioti's really stepped up their game in attachments and offerings and features over the years. And there's a whole, huge sheet of options that you can add to each of these, whether it be a block heater, a bolt-on cutting edge, hooks to the bucket, extra light kits, armrests, third function valves, rear hydraulics, and the list goes on. There's a lot of choices. So I hope you guys liked the video of me rambling on here and going over some of the differences and features between these two tractors. Again, this was our first time doing this kind of comparison on two tractors that are commonly compared at our dealership. We will be doing more of these in the future, so stick around. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Definitely subscribe. And share the video with your friends. Anybody that's looking for a tractor, we'd be happy to give you a quote. 413-253-5456. We'll see you next time, guys.